now begin the question and answer portion of the hearing, and I will begin the questioning and recognize myself for 5 minutes. So we've heard a lot in the opening statements, people going back and forth, but even though we want CDC and our health community to give us the data and the science, that did not always appear to be the case during COVID-19. So that brings up my first question. I have concerns surrounding the potential conflict of interest between the CDC and the CDC Foundation, which accepts millions of dollars annually in private financing with minimal reporting requirements or disclosures regarding how these funds are to be spent or whether there are strings attached when those funds come into the foundation. That results in the concern that private donors may be influencing public health policy at the CDC through the foundation. What assurances can you provide us that there are appropriate checks and balances between the CDC and the CDC Foundation, especially when it comes to transparency?
Well, thank you, Chairman. Transparency is very important to me, and I'm working hard to make sure that we can collaborate with many partners. As you likely know, the CDC Foundation is chartered in law, so they exist because Congress asked them to exist. And they are doing work in alignment with the CDC mission, right, to protect the health of this country. Though they do have a separate board and independent way of raising dollars and act independently from us. So we are trying to accomplish the same mission of protecting health.
But I think it's fair to say that you can assure us that you will not allow any donations from individuals to the foundation to affect your sound decisions in making decisions as the head of the CDC, yes or no?
I will continue to make sure that I'm making decisions on behalf of the CDC that are in accordance with the data and the evidence.
Perfect. I got to move on because time is limited even for the chair of the sub. So, Dr. Cohen, since you have become the CDC director, the level of cooperation from the CDC in response to this committee's oversight has been a little bit disappointing. CDC specifically has not responded to certain letters. Instead, we've received letters signed by HHS Assistant Secretary for Legislation. Even these responses did not respond to all of our questions or provide a single document. Instead, the responses recounted publicly available information. Under your leadership, as you get your sea legs under you, I hope that CDC will work with us to do our role as oversight. Will you commit to working with us and having the CDC cooperate with our oversight for the betterment of the nation? Yes or no?
Chairman, I look forward to working with you. I think it's really important, as I said in my opening statement, that we work closely with Congress, and I look forward to working with you personally. I built relationships across the aisle in North Carolina. I look forward to doing that here in this new role.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. With the current surge in respiratory disease in China, this subcommittee sent a letter to you just yesterday, so we don't expect an answer yet, but just yesterday regarding this mysterious uptick in cases. Our hope is that, and if you need us to help, we will, but we are hoping that you can put some pressure in an attempt to try to get China to not mislead the world as they did with COVID-19. What steps is your agency taking, is CDC taking, to ensure that you can gather all the complete and accurate data regarding this mysterious uptick in respiratory illnesses in China?
Well, thank you, Chairman. On that, obviously, it is really important that CDC continues to do our global work and do this scientific diplomacy. What we know as of right now, today, of what's happening in China, they are having an increase in some of their respiratory illness. They're seeing it in the northern part of their country. They're seeing an uptick in their pediatric population. What we do know as of today is we do not believe this is a new or novel pathogen. We believe this is all existing, meaning COVID, flu, RSV, mycoplasma, but they are seeing an upsurgence. We do have an office, CDC does, in China, and our officials have been in touch with our counterparts to make sure that we're understanding the situation there. They were sharing back with us, again, not a novel pathogen.
And you'll keep us informed.
We will.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
According to conversations the Select Committee on China had with local officials of Reedley, California, the CDC refused to take phone calls from city and county officials about that biolab. Why wouldn't the CDC prioritize a call on a serious and potentially deadly issue?
Chairman, We take very seriously working with our state and local partners. We work very closely and collaboratively. And I know in this case, when we were, again, we did not lead the investigation, but when we were invited to join and investigate related to select agents at that lab, we did so. We went on site for 2.5 days and completed that investigation.
What can you tell me about this Ebola refrigerator?
So we did a 2.5 day investigation. We took 300 photos, looked at everything. Our team did not see anything that said Ebola anywhere. Okay. When we heard after the fact that someone said it was labeled Ebola, we immediately followed up and said, do you have a picture? Is there any evidence? Could not produce that. So I think that was an erroneous inclusion in that report. We do not believe that there was any select agents on premises at that level.
Well, it's a dangerous world. Be careful out there. I yield back and now